I think the number one thing, if we want to tackle those complex problems, is recognize the sense of urgency. This is the moment is now, the problems are big. So we really need to do that recognition. I show you on this picture on the right-hand side. What you see is a very bad quality picture, but it's the basement of my garage floor. I took this picture Christmas Eve. At that time, there was no water coming out of our tap. I live a bit further down in Scherpenheuvel or Sharp Hill, if you translate it. And I can assure you, if you're planning to make a dinner for 20 people and there's no water coming out of the tap, you get in a kind of panic mode. So instead of going for last-minute Christmas shopping, everybody in our area was going very fast to the store, buying those big bottles of water, and we get those kind of emergency units calibrated. So this panic thing, it's also something that we see in the drought challenge. So the much bigger drought challenge. And I show you a picture of a kind of cycle, and it's a typical human behavior thing. We call it a hydro-illogical cycle, which means that you first start, when there's a dry period, there's some concern. No, it hasn't been raining quite some time. Then you see your grass turn brown. You turn into a drought period. Then it takes a bit longer, and then people start, oh my God, maybe we really have a water shortage. And then the next day it rains, like today, and then everybody just forgets about the problem and then go back to business as usual. And this is the thing that we really need to step away from, because the water shortage is not just a problem of some days not rain. No, it's really a structural problem where we have an imbalance between the supply and the demand side. So this means that we need to take structural measures and move away from those panic reactions and go for proactive measures, so long-term structural changes. And one project that is really focusing on that long-term, let's say, structural behavior is the Waterproof project. So I give you some impressions on what we're doing there. And in the Waterproof project, we focus on large-scale demonstration sites all over Flanders. We have an area in the Haspengouw region where we look at the fruit sector. We have an area in the Kempen area where you hope to have those very big excavation, very big water volumes there. And we also look at industrial parks. In this case, an area in the western part of Flanders, the area of Tielt. When we are tackling those problems in those demonstration areas, the number one thing that we focus on is really to make people see the bigger picture. Because if you just, let's say, approach a problem from one direction or one person's view, you will never find the right solution. So we need to bring the people together and see the bigger picture. In the case of a business park, so when we look at a typical business park, it's a combination of companies. You have big companies, small companies, you have large water consumers, you also have companies who don't use any water, but at least they're located on the same premises. So they share some facilities, they share some space, they share some resources over there. So you create a kind of community there. When you want to transform that business park into a site which is really fit for future, so looking for a long-term availability, the first thing that we start with is to bring those people together. So we connect the different people. If you see the picture there on your left-hand side, we made a big poster of the industrial park. People start to connect. Well, my company is here. Ah, that's very nice. I'm located there. What are you doing with water? What are you doing? So people start to have a kind of shared responsibility and a shared care about what they're doing with their water. So the first step is to make that connection. The second step is to really go for inspiration. We need to inspire them and have them think about water differently. Not take water for granted, but think about it. Where is it coming from? Who else is using this? And so on. And the third step is really to go for the connect them. You need to connect different expertises. We need to connect to local knowledge because people that are working or do some kind of economic activity in a certain area, they know a lot about their own production, about their area, about their neighbors, and so on. So we need to make that connection and have them, let's say, intervene into the next step. And the next step is really to go together for the kind of definition of specific measures that we fall under the term of, we use the terminology, waterwinst. Everybody likes to hear the word winst, profit. So what's in it for me storyline? And we need to look for solutions to gain more from less water. And this is an example where we look for the activation and the control of water buffers. The term water buffers, you need to interpret that quite broad. It can be that there is a basin available at the local site, which is shared, for instance, with the local farmers. It can also be that we look at, for instance, the water contained together with the fire brigade. It can be that we look at the personal rainwater tanks, also at rainwater drainage, this municipal territory. So we bring all those actors together, and then we look at all those type of water buffers. The first step is to look for a monitoring step. We need to know where is the water available, what is the quality, what is the dispersation towards time, what is the availability at which site. The second step is to also look at a kind of control measure. How can we, let's say, interpret some decisions based on the water availability and the water demand? So people need to be able to take control on who is using and storing which water at which time. And the third part is really looking at different technologies, different measures to do, to help them share the water and, let's say, go for the efficient measures. So when we come then to the essential part, is to go for win-win-wins. It's not the standard win-win. Eh? People know that if I want to make a deal with any one of you, you will ask what's in it for me, let's go for a win-win. Well, in the case of water, that's not enough. We need to go further than that. We need to go for the win-win-wins, meaning that we need to look for benefits on different territories. The benefits can be, of course, on the economical point of view, can also be on the pure water availability, because water is a scarce resource. It can also be an aspect of time. If a farmer needs to drive up to a water basin and collect some water, let's say, to do for their field, it takes up time. Time is also money. So all these aspects have to take into account. We just saw some examples on the use of nature and also the possible benefits from water for nature, and also about the people, the quality of living. So if we combine all those measures, then it's really about, we all heard it in the introduction by Jacob, is about connecting the dots between water, energy, transport, and quality of living. So if you look at a picture, there's a picture from the industrial park. It's a very typical picture, a boring street, a lot of concrete. You need to transform that into a much nicer environment. And when you do that, so when you are, let's say, making it a better environment for people to work, to live, come to work, you can also look at the same time, how can we in this area have a better storage, a better usage of water? And in this case, for instance, this is a road with in the underground, the design, a kind of storage function to really have a kind of buffering for water. So when you're planning to make some changes, that is the time to also think about what can we do with the water part. Then I have this picture. I kind of like it. It's a quite old one, Bruce Lee, and he told the world to be like water. Very nice. Be like water. Everybody has to be like water. What does it mean? We have to be able to adapt. And that is the really strong point. If we face all those climate challenges, you will hear a lot of them today. So the challenges are big, so we need to adapt very strong. And that is we also start a kind of collaboration with different water actors, and we called it the fluid crew. So water always finds a way, and so do we. But if it comes to really tackling all those challenges, it will not be up to the water experts. It will not be Marjolein on her own who solve the problems. It will not be me, and for the simple reason that one drop can't move a stone, but we need to do it all together. So 7 million can make the change. Thank you.
What would be your advice to the audience concerning the value of water?
Yeah, when it is about the value of water, to come back to your personal start of career, he was a trainee at Vito starting. But even at that time, he made a big impression with his personality. So we need to have, let's say, people that believe in there is a true value in water and that you can be part of that solution. So it's not just about, oh, I work at Vito, Vito works in sustainability, I like sustainability. No, it's about what are you going to do? How are you going to connect with other people, look across domains, make a change? And you turned out all right, so I think it worked.
Well, thanks a lot for the compliment. It's the first time after so many years, but thank you.